on pain, frozen shoulder. I just want to tell you some information about frozen shoulder that you may not know. One, frozen shoulder is all to do with the capsule that sits inside the shoulder. So you got to think of it like the Glad wrap. There's a Glad wrap sitting around your bones and your tissues inside. It's called your capsule. It's all to do with the capsule. And your body essentially attacks your capsule. An injury can start the process, stress, emotional stress can start the process, but it attacks the capsule. Initially it goes through this phase of being swollen, inflamed, and that's phase 1. It's called the inflammatory phase, where the capsule inside is really swollen, and the person starts to notice that every time they move their shoulder, wow, it really hurts and it aches and it aches and it aches and it aches, and that's the inflammatory phase. And number 2 is when it starts to get thicker and stiffer and it goes into the freezing stage. And as the pain continues, people will notice that their range of motion starts to decrease. The biggest telltale sign for the range of motion that decreases is this one, with your elbows tucked in by your side, trying to turn outwards. You'll find it becomes less and less and stiffer, and especially women, you can't do hand behind the back to do your bra. That becomes impossible with time. So that's the freezing stage, and that's number 2. Number 3 is called the frozen stage. That's when pain is pretty much non-existent. Most people live comfortably, but they can only lift their shoulder like this, and the shoulder has to hitch up to get any higher. To the front, has to hitch to get any higher. They can't do any of the movements behind the back, out to the side like we did before. It's just stuck. And then the final phase, phase 4, is the thawing phase, like you're thawing your ice out, right? The capsule starts to eventually let go, and the range of motion hopefully slowly comes back. Now, how long does it take from start to finish? It could take up to 24 months, some even longer. It is ridiculous. Why the hell does this happen to our shoulders? We still don't know. The literature is still out on that. We don't know why it happens. My personal belief all comes down to the stress state of the body. How stressed, emotionally, physically stressed the body was, and all it takes is one trigger. An injury, a fall, I don't know, a big tennis game, an emotional trauma, another emotional trauma event. I truly believe that, because frozen shoulder at the end of the day is your body, your nervous system, your autonomic nervous system attacking your capsule. Another thing that's quite interesting on top of that, it can affect men, but it's mainly women in the middle age. In the Middle Ages, mainly women, definitely pre-menopausal women, especially if you've had kids, you get frozen shoulder, sorry to say, on top of you having, the stress of going through kids. Mothers get it rough. So frozen shoulder happens to mainly women in the Middle Ages. It's interesting, but there you go. I hope that information